الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله وكفاه والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, quite often it very much so happens that a statement is uttered and two different people take the one and the same message to mean two different things. Now, if the two of them don't see clarity from the source themselves, it becomes two separate interpretations that spread amongst the masses. Either one is the intended purpose and the other one is the misconstrued, or both of them are misinterpreted and the actual meaning behind the word itself is lost. That being said, as an ummah, we have been lectured in Islam about the power of Muslim unity and the strength of this ummah more than we want to remember. But how we've taken that message is beginning to display in a way which I feel wasn't the intended manner. Let me explain myself to all of you today. Those who amidst us took that message and tried to build upon it, we began to gauge the unity of Muslims and the strength of the ummah as numbers. We gauged it by numbers. The number of people, the number of locations, the number of facilities, the number of communities, the number of activities that happen within them, the number of countries that fall under the banner of Islam, the number of people converting to Islam, and the number of the population of this ummah as a whole. Remember, As I said in the very beginning, a message has been delivered. How we, the recipients of that message, has taken it, I believe it has become misconstrued. So again, many of us take unity and strength to mean just that, i.e. numbers. My proof is that we use such numbers in statements to prove our unity and to attest to the fact that our community is strong. But is that what unity and strength is all about? For the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used the same thing, numbers. The Prophet ﷺ used the same thing, numbers, to depict this ummah's weakness and the state of the unity of this collective body. He ﷺ said, "The nations are about to call each other and set upon you, just as diners set upon food." It was said, will it be because of our small numbers that day? The Sahabas are asking, look, a statement is being said, an interpretation is being made. The Prophet ﷺ saying, don't stop. Because the Sahaba thought that they'll eat on us because we will be finger food and appetizers. He said, when they asked, will it be because of our small number that day? The Prophet ﷺ said, no. He said, rather on that day you will be many. But you will be like the foam on the river or the ocean. And Allah will remove the fear of you from the hearts of your enemies and will throw wahan, weakness in your hearts. Someone said, oh Rasulullah, what is this wahan? He said, it is the love of the world and the hatred for death. This hadith is recorded by Imam Dawood. The initial portion of this hadith is the subject matter I want to shed light upon. They thought he meant power and strength denotes numbers. And he said, no. Your numbers will be huge, but your effectiveness will be nil. So going back to the initial question, what is intended by the power of unity? Is it a physical thing or what? In the topic of our discussion today titled, Taking Your State of Mind into Consideration Beyond Your Physical Ability, we are going to learn just that, insha'Allah. That the alternative to our understanding on this matter, and possibly in the future other matters, is what was intended by our Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not that which we have defined it to be. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala free our hearts from the shackles of our ignorance. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Now I know for some of you are thinking, how could numbers not mean power? Well, just as the presence of a tongue does not denote speech, the presence of ears does not denote comprehension, and the presence of eyes does not denote sight, the presence of people does not denote our strength or our unity. A person who cannot see still has eyes where their eye sockets are. A person who cannot hear still has their ears intact. And a person who cannot speak does not have the absence of a tongue. The tongue is there, the eyes are there, the ears are there, but that doesn't mean that the other should be there. The Quran has made it clear to us all through 3 unique historical incidents documented for the sake of depicting true unity and true strength. As an ummah, we have drifted so far from them. The mere reminder today of them will still not make sense to many, if not all. However, that does not change the message or the intent behind it. It only highlights our failure to comprehend it. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, these 3 examples that will teach us what is true unity and true strength are examples that document war. Not so that we get up and fight, but so that we come together and truly unite. War was that time when the physical presence of the Muslims, alongside their abilities and their possessions and artillery, were brought together. They were all united in their physical presence. However, all three incidents have different outcomes, although all three incidents had the same three ingredients. They all had people, they all had the skills, and all three incidents had the weapons and their animals. But Allah is telling us, in these three examples of war, despite the presence of these three ingredients, the outcome in each one of them was different. What made it different, my dear friends, was not quantity or quality. Rather, it is something that I want to term as the mindset. Allah is telling us that the key ingredient of this ummah's unity and its true strength, i.e. the ability to be influential and thus successful, is in the unity of their mindset, not the other things. Again, Allah is teaching you and I from these three examples that the key to our unity, our strength, and our success is the unity of our mindset, not our numbers, not our weapons, not our animals, and not our abilities. Yet our ummah is still failing to adopt a unified mindset. No one will talk about the mindset. No one is speaking about the mindset. Maybe it's because no one is interested in listening about a mindset. It is in mindset where our strength lies. It is here where change is possible. It is here where we need to focus. And exactly here is where we need to start bringing real results, i.e. in our unified mindset. Now, what should that unified mindset look like? In a short version, it will be a state of mind that the heart will see, not the eyes. For the heart is a vessel which accumulates and accommodates only that which you believe, not what you know. Many of us know a lot in our heads, but what we believe emits from our hearts. Allah wants our hearts to unite with this mindset. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alludes to it in the Holy Quran when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went for Mi'raj. He went up to Allah and Allah says these words. Focus on these words. مَا كَذَبَ الْفُؤَادُ مَا رَآهُ. He should have said, مَا كَذَبَ الْعُيُونُ مَا رَآهُ. Allah should have said the eyes did not tell him a lie of what he saw, but Allah says his heart didn't lie to him for what his eyes seen. What is Allah saying, my dear friends? That the heart is where belief is rooted, and you only insert in your heart what you believe and what you accept, and it's that which means more than what you know from your head. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's heart in no way falsified that which he saw with his eyes. A good heart will always guide you to goodness, while a heart filled with vanity will only continue to inflict upon you harm. We are living in a strange time, my dear brothers and sisters. If you can't cry for the ummah, it goes to show that this heart is a vacated, broken down building in the suburbs of Detroit. It's dead. Even the insects and the rats don't want to go there. how our ummah thinks, how our ummah perceives, how our ummah with our different perceptions and thoughts clash with one another goes to show that we are failing. Goes to show that unity will never be obtained. Allah does not care that we're 1.8 billion Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ said, beware that you will become the froth and not the ocean. Now let us go to these three examples. The first of it, which is Badr. And I'm not going to tell you the story of Badr because you all know it very well. You know that the conventional route for transporting goods from Mecca to Sham used to pass through Badr. It was on the 17th day of Ramadan, on the second year of migration, i.e. the 15th year of Islam, that because of Abu Sufyan, a war was sparked. At that time, there was 313 Muslims, alongside whatever skills they possessed, alongside whatever artillery they had, alongside whichever animals they could bring. They were confronting 1,000 enemies. Abu Jahl made it very clear. His proclamation was very clear. Let us kill them once and for all. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, before the battle, stood up and supplicated Allah. He said, Allah, this is Quraysh. It has come with all of its arrogance and boastfulness, trying to discredit thy apostle. O Allah, I ask thee to humiliate them tomorrow, O Allah. If this Muslim band will perish today, those shall not be worshipped. Remember, 313 against 1,000. It's more than 3 to 1. Impossible to defeat. Physically, with their skills, and whatever they possessed. But there's something that happened in this one. In this battle, in this incident, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised that He'll send 5,000 angels to help him. Allah did send 1,000 angels. And Allah says in chapter 8 verse 7, so that truth should triumph and falsehood be uprooted, though the wrongdoers wished otherwise. In this entire incident, the backbone is perfect faith, sincere and just actions. I want you to understand, their mindset was perfect, their actions were perfect. Let us go to the second of 3 incidents, Uhud. Now we're going to the 3rd year of migration, the 16th year of Islam, where Meccans are on the way back now to Medina to retaliate. The Muslims set out 1,000, but they reach Uhud, which is down the road 700. Because 300 of them halfway turned around and said, you know what, Muhammad, you keep going, we're just going to go back home. So now there's 700 believers coming up against 3,000 enemies who are marching from the south to the north. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ assigned posts, but we know the story, those assignments were not upheld. Khalid bin Walid at that time was not a Muslim. He was retreating, but then he saw the opening, so he retaliated and he surrounded the Muslims. In result, 70 Muslims, noble companions, great companions, amongst them Hamza, the only believer from the family of the Prophet ﷺ, his uncles, were killed. And many more sustained injuries. There was a rumor spread that the Prophet ﷺ himself died. Abu Dujana radiallahu anhu became a human shield, protecting the Prophet ﷺ, sacrificing his life instead of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. At the very end, the enemies did flee, and victory was then returned. But the backbone lesson of this incident is that they were strong in their faith. Their mindset was united, but they were weak in their actions. In the first in Badr, the mindset was united, the actions were aligned. In the second, the mindset was strong, but the actions were distorted. It was because of the few Sahaba that assumed the war was over. They stepped down from their post, assuming that the Prophet ﷺ doesn't need to say these words, they'll just come down themselves, and that resulted in such a catastrophe. The Muslims thereafter realized that their defeat was caused by their disobedience to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And the Quran tells us the Muslims had been tested by Allah at Uhud, and they had failed, but Allah forgave them for their weakness. Allah says in chapter 3, verse 145, some of you there are that desire this world, and some of you there are that desire the next world. What is Allah saying? Your mindset was the reason that your actions became different. مِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرِيدُ الدُّنْيَا وَمِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرِيدُ الْآخِرَةِ. How could it be that 700 people fractioned in their mindset? Allah is pointing it out. Then He turned you from them, that He may try you, and He had forgiven you, and Allah is bounteous to the believers. Again, chapter 3, verse number 145. Let us now dive into the third of three examples that history has depicted for us as a lesson to realize: do not assume your unity to be numbers. Do not assume your power for change to be your abilities. Brothers and sisters, we could be half the world. We could be 2/3 of the world, but we will continue to fail miserably until or unless our mindset unites and our mindset aligns with our actions, as our actions should align with our unified mindset. And number 3 depicts the opposite. It was Hunayn, the 8th year of migration, the 21st year of Islam. And at that time, the Muhajirin were saying, no one could beat us today. No one can pick on us today. The violent tribes of Hawazin and Thaqif joined hands, and they marched upon the Muslims. It was the 6th day of Shawwal. A pitched battle was fought at Hunayn, about 10 miles from Makkah. The tribes of Hawazin and Thaqif, they took up vantage positions. They almost took the Muslims by surprise, attacking them in the early hours of the morning, and they fought in a spirit of desperation. The Muslims lost ground in the beginning, and their defeat seemed imminent. But the Prophet ﷺ then called upon them, but they did not respond. لَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَوَاطِنَ كَثِيرَةٍ وَيَوْمَ حُنَيْنٍ إِذْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ كَثْرَتُكُمْ فَلَمْ تُغْنِ عَنْكُمْ شَيْئًا وَضَاقَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَرْضُ بِمَا رَحُبَتْ ثُمَّ وَلَّيْتُمْ مُدْبِرِينَ. The Prophet ﷺ saying, come back. He's saying, come back. And they kept running. Truly Allah has given you victory on many battlefields and on the day of Hunayn, when you rejoiced at your great number, but it availed you not on this earth. Regardless as vast as it is, it was strained for you, and you turned back in flight. Then Allah brought forth His unseen force to give victory to truth upon falsehood, and reminded that it is He alone that grants victory, not your numbers, not your power, and not your might. The backbone of this incident, my fellow Muslims, is they were strong in their action, but they were weak in their faith, resulting in a great moral failure. In light of these 3 incidents, we should be able to distinguish the true meaning of a Muslim who is strong in faith and upright in their action. That means all of us at the same time, united, collective, always. Allah says in Surah Muhammad, verse 33, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the Messenger, and do not make your deeds in vain. What does that mean? Don't assume your actions are the pivotal point, that the actions are pivotal towards change for the better, that you exert your all on your actions, but the mindset, the basis behind it is flawed. Allah is saying, don't waste your breath. Don't waste your energy by disobeying Allah and His Messenger, assuming your actions will bring forth that which you want. It will not. So again, what is the mindset? Faith in Allah, not in yourself or the unit of people. Today our faith is in our numbers. Today our belief is in our program. Today our hope is in our resources. These masjids do not mean Islam, brothers and sisters. It's what you did through these masjids outside the masjid represents Islam. And now in our day, Islam can only be practiced in the masjid, but we ourselves take off the coat of Islam before we leave the masjid, is denoting the fact that the death to Islam is imminent. And correct me if I'm wrong. Because our actions is what we're banking upon. Our faith, our foundation, our unified mindset is lost. As you can see, faith is not a passive thing. It should always be confirmed and manifested in good deeds, deeds that are consistent with the Quran and the Sunnah. Let it be known, just for knowledge purposes, that the word deed or action has been mentioned in the Quran 350 times. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open our hearts, unify our mindset, allow us to align our deeds with a common goal, and a common goal with upright deeds. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Islam was set on the right course. Islam was set on the right course by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Over time, we the Muslims changed it. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us of this. In a hadith recorded and related to us by Hudayfa radiallahu ta'ala, recorded by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam the people used to ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the good, and I used to ask him about the evil. People used to ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about good. I would ask about evil, with the fear that the evil would inflict me. So I asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where we were living in ignorance and evil. Allah brought this good to us. Will there be any evil after this good? He replied, yes. I then asked, will there be any good after that evil? He replied, yes, but it will be tainted. So I asked him, what will be its taint? He replied, a people who guide others to other than my way, you will approve of some of their actions and disapprove of others. And this is exactly taking us back to our so-called celebrity culture in Islam, that we see a people or a person as authentic, but we do not vet the Quran and Hadith that's emitting from their tongues to be authentic. The Prophet ﷺ saying, a people who will guide others to other than my way, you will approve of some of their actions and disapprove of others. I further inquired, then is there any evil after this good? He said, yes, callers at the gates of hell, who will respond to their call, they will be thrown into the fire. I said, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, describe them to us. He said, they will be from our people and speak our language. They're not coming from outside. They're not going to infiltrate like a virus in Islam. They will be your people. They will speak your language. And they will take you, what the Prophet ﷺ saying, away from what I brought to you. And that is why, and I'm pausing here, that is why we need a unified mindset and unified action. There is no time left for us to bicker about actions and distance ourselves from what our mindset should be. I asked, so what do you order me to do if that reaches me? He said, stick to the unit body of Muslims and their imam. I further asked, what if they have neither a unit or an imam? He said, then keep away from all those sects, even if you have to bite upon the roots of a tree until your death reaches you whilst you're in that state. The normalized mindset today isn't the unity the Prophet ﷺ intended for us. It is actually a source of potential harm for all of us. So either we accept and change how Islam is depicted, or we fail to comprehend the current way, and thus we fail internally despite our numbers and our perceived strength. Before we send salutations and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, I ask of all of you on this blessed day of Friday to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the soul of Yusuf Didat, the son of Ahmad Didat, the famous lecturer and debater for Islam in the 70s and 80s. He was shot yesterday in the head outside the courthouse in South Africa, and this morning he succumbed to his wounds and he passed away. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive his sins. We ask Allah to elevate his rank, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to unite him with his family in Jannah al-Firdaus al-A'la. We send salutations and blessings upon Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who guided us, who mentored us, and showed us the true path of Islam. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad, abdika wa rasulika al-nabiy al-ummi, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallama tasliman kathiran kathira. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم ألهمنا مراشد أمورنا. اللهم إنا نستهديك لمراشد أمورنا. اللهم زدنا علما ينفعنا. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Please ensure that